Hey, welcome back. It's Ewa Rogos here with our my brand new fresh idea that was just born literally this morning, so a couple of hours ago. I've done a little very quick research on what I can do, and let me tell you what I've come up with, and I think that may be quite exciting. So, if I were to create something of a nature of a podcast where we could talk about everything, but make it quite interactive as well, where you can obviously comment and send your ideas through and come up with ideas of what we can talk about. Also, be able to maybe appear on a podcast, or even if it's on an audio thing where we can't connect and we can talk. What do you think of that? I mean, we just thought, me and my client, we just thought it would be the greatest idea. And now listen up why. Hear me out. So we sat here having our sessions, which was quite a session. It was one of the longer ones. So we've gone over sort of hour and a half session, dealing with our issues as we went. And at some point, she really sort of she said something that really resonated with me, and I said, I understand. I can really relate to that. And she looks quite surprised, as you guys sometimes do when a therapist or a life coach or anyone that you come to, because you're looking for your answers and because you feel that obviously you need certain support in dealing with your obstacles that you meet on your way. And sometimes you surprisingly ask, how is it possible? How can you relate? So here's the surprise. We are all just human beings as you are, okay? And we are all born to the same world as you have. And we are all dealing with the same issues, problems, or traumas as you are or have been dealing with. It all touches us differently. It all touches us in a very different way. It all touches different aspects of our lives. Some of it could be mental, some could be physical, some could be emotional, but it does touch us. And the reason for me personally, why I have chosen the career path as I have, it's to be able to help people overcome certain difficulties that I had to come over my life, and I've overcome them, and I've become much happier person, a person who is willing and is able to pass certain knowledge, techniques, and ways of dealing with certain things that I've come up with while dealing with my own past experiences, and I am able to pass it on to you so you can learn how to do it in your life. But we are definitely people with pasts, okay? We have been going through a lot of traumas in our lives. We have had traumatic childhoods. We have had maybe bad parents, maybe bad partners, maybe bad relationships with colleagues, with friends. We made wrong career choices. We made wrong life choices. We may have been addicts. We may have been ill or upset or too depressed or too angry. And it does happen to everybody, and it does happen to everyone. And in one way or another, I always say that everyone deserves to have a therapist in their lives, just because it's always worth talking to someone, not because you have a certain issue, but just because you may want to get a certain different perspective on something that you're dealing with, right? So here's the idea. You write your comments, send your links, send your messages, anything that you feel would be appropriate here. Well, I would want to create something that would be called something that's very up close and personal, or even that, up close and personal. My initial idea was to call it the diary of a life coach, or the diary of a therapist, or one of my ideas that we came up with a client was a podcast to be named from the coach's couch, I think it was. So basically we sit down on one couch, and then we can just talk and go for different ideas. But what I want it to be is to be a very personal experience where we all can relate to certain issues, right? So if we'll be talking about I don't know, bringing up our children, for example, or how bad you may feel or may have felt as a young mum when you weren't able to cope with your career or going back to work and this and that. I would like to incorporate certain of my experiences into that as well. I will not, obviously, I had not lived through everything that you had lived through. And I have not experienced everything that you have experienced. But if I can't relate to it personally, I would then obviously relate to it in some kind of professional way, right? So how we can cope with it, or if it's something that maybe touched me personally, that how I coped with it and how you can find your way out of it. But I want this place to be like open. I would like to create something with a sense of not even as much of community, but more of a sense of togetherness, if that makes sense. Anything that we can talk about, it could be relationships, it could be family, it could be career, it could be life choices, it could be bringing up our children, it could be heartbreaks, it could love stories, power of positive thinking, but also power of negative thinking. Everything has both ends, right? Two ends, right? Every stick has two ends. So say if we growing up in a healthy family, that's brilliant, right? But what if we're not? What if there are things that obviously are stopping us from being all this lovely, mindful, collected and assertive children, right? There are things that happen to certain amount of people, some of us, that basically have experienced certain things and they want to share it, right? So let's not make it all ugly, but let's not make it all very pretty either, right? I would like to be somewhere where we can touch both sides of both worlds, right? Let's talk about love. Let's talk about these beautiful, healthy relationships, and let's learn from one another. Let's see what others have that maybe we can benefit from. Maybe they've got certain ways of talking to the partner that we don't, and we can actually use it to our benefit. And it's great, right? It's all a process of certain education or self-education, you're educating yourself, where you can learn something in the process. Everything is a process. Everything is a process, and we do have to trust certain process of our life. So all that emotional reasoning that we're doing about how we say, oh, I'm just not good at that, so I'm not going to do it. Well, have you tried doing it, or have you maybe learned how to do it a different way? Have you ever thought about maybe let me sharpen up on my other skills so I can become better at something different? This is all about emotional reasoning, or about magnifying or minimizing for that reason our skills, right? You can magnify it and say like, oh, I really suck at it. Or you can say, you know what, you're not really great. But you can also be the person that can magnify yourself in a bad way. So in a way of being an overachiever, where you always have to sort of magnify your goals and find them very hard to fulfill because you're obviously not able to do it. So I want to talk about that just as well. So anything, relationships, families, heartbreaks, mindset, positive habits, anything that brings us into a state of certain euphoria, but also anything that can bring us down into a state of a panic attack or just about panic attack, right? Anything would go, and anything could be basically talked about, and I could match you with my knowledge and my skills, if not with my personal experience in some one way or the other, then obviously in a professional guidance. And I think that would work really well. So whatever it is that you would want to talk about, and no matter number of episodes or I don't know, sessions that we would record and send them up on YouTube or Spotify or anywhere else, I would want it to be somehow pleasant for everybody. So any ideas welcome, right? If you're staying at home and you just feel like this is not your day and you just can't get on with it, let's talk about it. If you're a struggling new dad and you can't get on with it, let's talk about it. If you're a guy that hates leaving for work because you hate being late and you know you're going to be late just because you don't want to be there, let's talk about it. If procrastination is your thing, let's talk about it, right? If overachieving is your thing, let's talk about it. If you had bad childhood memory, let's talk about it. If you had a great childhood memory, let's talk about it. So anything literally would go, and then we can always find some that would benefit from our positive experience, and maybe some people will learn from the negative experience as well, that we've had. So that would be something that we want to do. Anything that would have something to do with our emotional, mental or physical well-being is something that you want to touch, right? It could be that we deal with physical chronic pain that we can't deal with. It could be that our mental health is in such bad place that our physicality is not great at the moment, right? The sexuality doesn't have to be great at the moment, right? It could be feeling that you're not very attractive, or it could be feeling that you can't escape say I'm saying addictions of, I know, pornography or drugs, alcohol, anything. And we could be quite anonymous with that. We don't have to call any names. It could be that would be just sort of sending messages or comments, or change the sound of your voice if you wanted to be part of it, or not show your face. But it would be just so lovely to actually have people come and talk about things that we struggle with, and let someone learn and take away from our experience, and then maybe you can take away something from someone else's experience. All or nothing, I'm thinking, right? Does it have to be all or nothing? Does it have to be that it's going to work out great or it doesn't work out at all? No, it can be there, just hanging in the seeing how we can swing it, and maybe we can. And it could be that I'll be just leaving episodes or sessions recorded for you to listen, and you just comment. But I would just love for it to somehow take off, and that kind of up close and personal thing, that's really great, because you know what, it gives us the sense that we all in something together, right? As I said, and I really want to emphasize it again, we don't go through the same experiences in the same way, right? We could experience something similar, say, I don't know, child abuse or certain negligence and so, but the way we go through it, the way we analyze it, the way we deal with it as adults can be and will be and is completely different, but it will all leave a mark somewhere in our mind, right? In our nervous system, and how we deal with things, or how we then talk to our children, or how we then perceive our future potential partners, or our current partners. So it's all got roots somewhere. Everything has started somewhere. Everything has a beginning. And if you're going through any tough times and you wanted to ever talk about it, this is a place. This is a place where we can relate. This is the place where we can feel that whatever we do in life, we're not alone in this, right? And again, the career path that I have chosen through manual work, working with physiotherapists, sports massage therapy and all, body work, it's all part of it, right? Mind and body is so strongly connected. Body and mind, it works as one. If one doesn't work, just one won't work properly. So it's all somewhere leveled up. It's all within us. We all one system, right? So I always like to call it that our body is our ecosystem, and we have to filter what we let in, right? But as quite vulnerable at some points of our lives, younger people, we probably weren't able to filter just as much. So a lot of things manage to get into our system, and it's quite hard to get rid of it. Choosing the career path of a therapist, of a life coach, I chose to use my filter thoroughly at that point, to learn how to teach you then how to use your filters, right? How to see that certain boundaries are very healthy, how to see that your standards that you set in yourself are definitely needed, are very healthy, right? And it would be great to be able to share with you all that stuff, but also for others to share what they're going through, or how they can manage to overcome certain things. And it will be just amazing. So let me know what you think. Let me know if that speaks to you in any way. Let me know if you think we can swing it. I'll try and do this one on YouTube and Spotify. I'm very new to it, but let's try to do Spotify one as well. I posted a few things. You comment, you send me some useful links if you think that you have if there's anything you want to talk about. Let's just do it, and then try and build this little togetherness thing together. Thank you so much, and I'll be seeing you guys very, very shortly. Take care.